Good morning, all of you. Today, the topic of the class is development of genital system. As we all know that sex of the embryo is determined at the time of fertilization. If it is XY, then it is going to be male, and if it is XS, then female. But it is sexual genetic differentiation. But phenotypical or sexual differentiation is not there up to the 7th week of intrauterine life, because up to the 7th week of intrauterine life, genital development is same in both sexes. So this stage of sexual development is called as indifferent stage. Now we start development of male gonad. First of all, what is gonad? Gonads produce germ cells like sperm or oocyte. In males, testis is gonad, and females, ovary is gonad. And development of gonads start at 4th week of intrauterine life, and it starts at lumbar region, and later on it will shift it to the pelvic region. Gonads are derived from 3 sources. First is coelomic epithelium, second one is underlying mesenchyme, and third one is the primordial germ cells. Here we can see the mesonephric region or the mesonephros. On the medial side of this, here you can see genital ridge. So this genital ridge develops from the intermediate mesoderm on the medial side of the mesonephros. Here we can see the cut section of the at the lumbar region. This is the coelomic cavity, and this is the lining of the coelomic cavity, coelomic epithelium, and here is this part is the mesonephric region, and on the medial side of it gonadal ridge develops, and this is the dorsal mesentery of the hindgut. So on each side of the dorsal mesentery of the hindgut, this gonadal ridge develops by proliferation of the coelomic epithelium. Now, what is indifferent stage? It is up to the 7th week of intrauterine life. Up to this stage, development of gonad in male and female is same. What happens in this stage? First is formation of genital ridge by proliferation of coelomic epithelium. Second one is the movement of primordial germ cells into the gonadal ridge region. Now, first of all, about primordial germ cells. Primordial germ cells are derived from epiblast during 2nd or 3rd week of intrauterine life. They move through the primitive streak and enter into the endoderm of the yolk sac. This endoderm of the yolk sac near the allantois form the hindgut. So they are deposited around the hindgut in yolk sac region. Then they will move through the dorsal mesentery of the hindgut during 4th week of intrauterine life and reaches to the gonadal ridge region during 5th week. And during 6th week, they will penetrate the genital ridge or the gonadal ridge region. Now, this coelomic epithelium, this will proliferate and form the sex cords into the underlying mesenchyme. So, the sex cords are formed into and which are finger-like extension into the mesenchyme, and into these sex cord primordial germ cells are incorporated in between them. Here we can see blue one are the sex cord cells which are derived from the coelomic epithelium, and in between them here or reddish one are the primordial germ cells. So indifferent gonad up to stage remains up to the 7th week of intrauterine life, and up to this stage sex cord has been formed and primordial germ cells has been reached up to the gonadal ridge or the genital ridge region, and this stage is called as indifferent gonad stage because in male and female both it is same. Now further development of testis. We have seen that coelomic epithelium proliferate and it will grow into the underlying mesenchyme to form the sex cords, and in between these sex cord primordial germ cells are embedded. Now these sex cords, which are primitive sex cords, they will grow deeper into the medullary region and they will form medullary cords. These medullary cords, they will unite and they will form the reti testes. Now the underlying mesenchyme, from here underlying mesenchyme move towards the coelomic epithelium and it forms a layer just beneath the coelomic epithelium. So it will form a fibrous connective tissue layer that is called as tunica albuginea. This tunica albuginea, which is formed by underlying mesenchyme, and it is separating the coelomic epithelium from underlying testicular tissue, or we can say from the sex cord region. So this tunica albuginea is a thick layer and it is separating the germinal epithelium or the coelomic epithelium from the sex cord cells, which is this tunica albuginea is absent in case of females. So after formation of tunica albuginea, there will be no contribution of these coelomic epithelium cells in formation of the sex cord cells. But in case of females, this tunica albuginea is absent or very thin. So the coelomic epithelium. Now the reti testis will communicate with the tubules from the mesonephric duct. So there is communication between reti testis and tubules of the mesonephric duct is established. Now what will happen with the mesonephric duct? This is the cranial end of the mesonephric duct. It is forming the duct of epididymis. Here the connective tissue will aggregate around it to form the epididymis, and the caudal part of the mesonephric duct will form the ductus deferens. This is the cranial part of the mesonephric duct, which is forming the epididymis. Caudal part is forming the vas deferens. Near the caudal end, near the terminal end, which is this mesonephric duct, is opening into prostatic urethra. Just before opening into prostatic urethra, there a diverticulum arises from that structure, and that will give rise to seminal vesicle. After origin of seminal vesicle, the caudal part of this mesonephric duct form the ejaculatory duct. So the cranial part of the mesonephric duct forms the epididymis, caudal part will form the vas deferens, and part which is caudal to origin of seminal vesicle will form the ejaculatory duct, and seminal vesicle also arises from the mesonephric duct. So epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle and ejaculatory duct all are derived from the mesonephric duct or the Wolffian duct, and these mesonephric tubules, they will form the vasa efferentia or efferent ductules of the testis. Development of male genital duct is stimulated by testosterone, which is released by the Leydig cells. Mesonephric duct, here you can see the mesonephric duct, and these are the mesonephric tubules which are making communication with the reti testis. But some mesonephric tubules are not making communication in the cranial part, and some are in the caudal part, which cannot be communicate with the reti testis. These small tubules form the inferior aberrant ductules, and these one will form the superior aberrant ductules. So mesonephric tubules in the cranial part will form the superior aberrant ductule, and in the caudal part will form the inferior aberrant ductule, which are not making communication with the reti testis. And the mesonephric tubule which are making communication with the reti testis will form the efferent ductule of the testis or the vasa efferentia. These mesonephric tubules will enter into the mesonephric duct. This mesonephric duct is excessively coiled now, and it will form the epididymis. Now caudal part of the mesonephric duct form the mesonephric duct. Now it will form the vas deferens, and from the caudal part a seminal vesicle arises from it, and part caudal to the seminal vesicle will form the ejaculatory duct. So this part is called as ejaculatory duct. So epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct and seminal vesicle all are mesonephric duct derived structures, and mesonephric tubule give rise to efferent ductule of testis or vasa efferentia. Now what happens with the paramesonephric duct? This paramesonephric duct will regress due to hormone which is released by the Sertoli cells, that is anti-Mullerian hormone. So this is the mesonephric duct which is parallel to this is paramesonephric duct which is parallel to the mesonephric duct, and it is degenerating due to Mullerian inhibiting substance. But some part of it sometimes remains, and as a remnant it will form the appendix of testis. So appendix of testis is remnant of paramesonephric duct. And here you can see the cranial part of the mesonephric duct. This will form the appendix of epididymis. So appendix of epididymis is derived from mesonephric duct, and appendix of testis is derived from the paramesonephric duct. So appendix of epididymis is remnant of mesonephric duct. Cranial part of the mesonephric duct will persist as a appendix of epididymis. It is attached to the head of epididymis. Now, what are the other vestigial remnants? Paradidymis, superior aberrant ductules, and inferior aberrant ductules. These are the remnants of mesonephric duct in male. Now, descent of testis. It has been discussed in gross anatomy of testis, so I am not going into detail of it. But in short, testes initially lie in the lumbar region. They reach into the iliac fossa region during third month of intrauterine life. They reaches deep inguinal ring at the end of 6th month. Finally, during 7th month, they will reach into the inguinal canal, and around 8th month, they reaches superficial inguinal ring or the upper part of the scrotum, and by the 9th month, they will reach the base of the scrotum. So, and what are the factors which are responsible for descent of testes? They are differential growth of the body wall, gubernaculum, and the processus vaginalis, and the hormonal factors which are responsible for it. Gubernaculum is attached to the caudal and or the lower pole of the testis, and the other end is attached to the scrotum. And the process of peritoneum which will move with the testis is called as processus vaginalis, which will form the tunica vaginalis of the testis. Collection of fluid into the tunica vaginalis testis is called as hydrocele. Normally, this proximal part of this vaginal process obliterates at birth. Now, what is cryptorchidism and what is ectopic testis? If there is testis is undescended, they are absent in the scrotal region, and they remain in the pathway of descent, somewhere in the pathway of descent, then it is called as cryptorchidism. And they are present any other reason than the pathway of descent, then they will call as ectopic testis. In ectopic testis condition, they may present in the penile region, they may present in the thigh or the other region. And in cryptorchidism, they may present in lumbar region, iliac region, inguinal region, or pubic region, or higher up in the scrotum. So that's all about development of testis. Thank you.